So today we're going to talk about how to make our current midsize trucks that we own right now. Like I own a Toyota Tacoma 2022 model. How can we make that truck be able to compete with new vehicles that are coming out? The main goal here is I want to be able to go on blue rated trails that are harder and not tear up my truck. So can I put a certain amount of money into it, besides spending tens of thousands of dollars? What can I put into it to not spend that amount of money and still enjoy a blue trail, which in my opinion, blue trails for the cost that you put into a truck are really fun trails. So let's talk about that right now. So in my example, I got a 2022 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road, and the ground clearance of it is 9.4 inches. That's with the current tire size and current suspension setup. So 9.4 inches. This height is just like all the midsize trucks. This is a height rated off of the lowest hanging item that's not your pumpkin. So your pumpkin, of course, is lower a little bit, but the 9.4 inch that you get from these midsize trucks is off of the lowest hanging item. Usually it's your center area. So the Tacoma is 9.4 inches. We need to get this thing up to 12 inches to be really competitive and to be safe on these blue trails without tearing up our rig. So the first thing is tires. We don't want to spend a ton of money in tires, but we want to get it up high enough without having to modify the vehicle, massive costs involved. So that's our goal. Keep the cost down. So the first thing here is we can gain 1 inch of height by adding a 265/75 R16 tire to my truck. This size of tire, I don't have to do any modifications. I don't have to cut a cab mount. I don't have to modify the fender wells. I don't have to do anything to put this tire in my wheel well. And because it's 1 inch higher, I'm going to gain a half inch of height for ground clearance. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is. It's quite a bit. And for the trucks that are not TRD off-roads, the tires are smaller even than the 265/70. So this 265/75 is quite a bit of tire for your truck. So good size to get it going. And like I said, it's a half an inch higher in ground clearance. This is the one I found for it. It's a Cooper Evolution MT all-terrain tire. Really, it's a mud terrain. I know it says all-terrain, but it's a mud terrain. It's got really good grip. I have this tire on my truck, and it works really, really well on the trail. It's a 10-ply rated tire. You need a 10-ply rated tire. That means that the sidewall rubber is really thick. It's got a nice sidewall to it. And when you're off on these trails, you need a thick sidewall to go on a nice, heavy, hard trail. Skid plates. You kind of need skid plates because you don't want to tear up the undercarriage when you're on these blue trails. These blue trails are pretty advanced trails. They have some big rocks and they're just pretty advanced. So you need a good set of skid plates. The one I found here was $198. This covers the front, my front differential. And then I got this one. I got this one because it's a one piece that covers the transmission and it covers the transfer case. It's a one piece unit, really nice, and like I said, it protects everything back. And again, you needed this for a blue trail. Suspension lift you should get is a 2-inch lift kit. In my preference, you should do a 2-inch, not a 3-inch, because when you start getting higher, you start getting more involved in what you're going to be tearing up on your truck by doing a lift. So 2 inches is a nice safe number to do a lift kit on it without really worrying about tearing up some of the suspension parts. Another thing you have to think about when you're doing this lift is you need your rear shocks to be able to extend all the way down. That way when you do this lift, you're getting that extra extension in the rear. So get yourself a extended set of shocks in the rear. So now that we have an extra half inch from the tires That takes our 9.4 to 9.9 inches of travel. That takes our 9.4 to almost 10 inches of ground clearance. And then we add our 2 inches of suspension lift. That gives us 12 inches of ground clearance and a good size tire for these blue trails. So 12 inches of ground clearance is a great height for blue. You're going to be safe out there. You can have skid plates. It's a good safe number to go out there and have a ton of fun. Now I'm going to show you the actual trails that we've taken this truck off on. So here's one of the trails we took it off on, Roush Creek Park. These rocks are actually 12 inches tall, maybe a little higher, so they are big, and you can see when the camera shakes when I hit. So I do hit my skid plate quite a bit, but you take it slow and you can get through one of these nice courses. There it goes over, and there's a hit. You can really see when it hits. It's just boom. So, like I said, take your time, go slow over it. It's kind of scraped a little bit there, but skid plates, that's why you got them. You can make it over nice and easy. Use those skid plates. Go slow. That's the key. Go slow. Don't rush it. And like I said, 2-inch lift, tire that's only a half-inch taller, and you can be competitive with all the big four-wheel drives out there. You can see we got right through that course. So that's what we have today for getting your truck capable for these blue trails. And like I said, blue trails are a lot of fun. The green trails are fun too. They're a nice scenery and you get some hills and some nice stuff. But the blue trails take it to another skill level at that. So if you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe, and we'll see you next episode.